Alright, day 6 of building my startup for Salesforce ecosystem. What I'm building the best course for learning Apex, or I would better say a platform. A platform that should take you from zero, complete beginner, no idea how to code, no idea how to write a variable, to being a developer. Well, the platform will be not for free, because my idea is to get to 10k monthly recurring revenue with this app. This is something that I dream of, this is something that would be quite nice outcome, something that I would like to do. If that's not gonna be the case, that's fine, because I am building this stuff because I love building something, and because I enjoy creating something from complete zero, and because I also wanna stream about it and I wanna show people that actually you can build something, you can build a startup, you can build something meaningful for the Salesforce ecosystem. Because if you look up on the internet, you see all these people building everything for any other ecosystem, but not for the Salesforce. In the Salesforce, we have so few people who are actually building business around this ecosystem. We need more. So guys, comment, subscribe, and maybe we can build something together. Yeah, so what we have so far? And first, as always, I'm gonna check the stream. Looks like it's going. So I have here in the thumbnail, I have my my hat here. I don't have it now, but basically here we have snow in Munich, and therefore I feel very much Christmas vibes. And today I basically spent a whole day of trying to set up React, or better to say Next.js, and the other part of the day I spent trying to set up OBS Studio so that I can share my desktop audio. So I hope it works, because that was quite a pain to do on Mac. Okay, let's see if that works. Trying to set up. Looks like it's working. Okay, so I hope now you could hear the sound. What I was doing tutorial of this guy. If you don't know this guy, he's front-end developer on the React. Now, before we actually go into the coding, one thing that I struggle with is to make a decision with what technology should I actually go with. Because, and now I'm gonna open my Obsidian, and technology here, what technology to go. So I'm using, I've been using Notion forever, for like 3 years, I guess. And now I'm trying out Obsidian. Basically Obsidian's like a note-taking app, but it also has this canvas, and you can put here cards, and you can write here something, and you can resize them, and you can drop here another one, and for example, let's write here something, and let's make it like this, and then we can connect them. So it's quite cool for brainstorming, and it's free, so I'm using it. So the challenge that I am currently facing is that I am zero front-end developer. I'm not zero front-end developer, but I am Salesforce developer, right? So I am not proficient with any other tool rather than just Salesforce. So this is something that actually kind of not good, even though I have around 4 years Salesforce development experience. If you just take me and put to another technology, that's of course quite difficult, because I've never done anything on this technology. And one of the things, we need to decide with what technology we're gonna write it. Now I have this awesome guy, Sasha, from Ukraine, and he is a React developer. He's a junior React developer, and he will be helping me out and basically making our app production ready. Because it's one thing to develop the design that we had, and another thing is actually making the app production ready. So he will be helping me with this. The catch is that he knows React. He doesn't know Next.js. For those who don't know, like, you have React, and kind of the next iteration of React, which is front-end framework, would be Next.js, right? So he only knows React, and he knows I'm super happy with what he is doing. He is really awesome. but he just finished like almost a year of learning in the bootcamp. So so that's kind of the catch. Now I've done few tutorials with Next.js, and I really liked Next.js, and even not knowing React, I could understand Next.js quite well, and I could actually develop something something useful with Next.js really quick, basically just doing one tutorial, and now you understand how to work with Next.js. The problem with pure React is that React doesn't support the search engine optimization. So I'm gonna write here a few things. Here, React, right? So we need to choose what technology we're gonna use. Are we gonna use React, or are we going to use Next.js? And React, no support for search engine optimization. Another problem is I can't write it. I mean, I will be able, if I do few tutorials, I would be able to write something, but not now. So that's the problem with React. Another problem with React is that I'm not sure, but I think it looks like for me like this, that it's takes more time for development. With Next.js though, what is the biggest downside of Next.js? Sasha doesn't know it. I am super sure that Sasha will be able to learn it super quick, but it will slow down us for, let's say, 1 week. And how big will be this slowdown? I don't know. Like, it may be 1 week, maybe more. I don't know. No idea. But besides of that, I don't see any downsides of using Next.js. And the question is it so I'm gonna speak tomorrow to Sasha, right? Because today is Sunday. So 1 week, or let's say X weeks. And what is X? For how long, right? For how long it's gonna slow us down if instead of just writing the code directly, Sasha gonna go and learn Next.js. The question is, will it even be a slowdown? Maybe the time that we're gonna use for learning Next.js we will be actually saving by writing Next.js, because we don't need to write everything with React. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I don't know. And this is one of the in general things with business that we need to kind of take decisions with not knowing, like just literally knowing this, and then please make a decision what to do, right? Before that, I'm gonna write welcome to day 6 in the chat, and I'm gonna send it. So hey, if you're watching it, comment please. I want to see your comments. I want to see that people actually watch it. I mean, I do see that you watch, but comment. That keeps me going. So the Next.js or React. With React, basically we could let Sasha start like on Monday and actually writing something, but I would be falling behind and I would need to learn React. And I suspect that it's gonna be less productive than doing Next.js. So all the modern developers that I was watching on, for example, Twitch, or like this guy Tio, let me switch to have it, Tio, right? He's using Next.js, and like I really don't see anyone using pure React at all. So I kind of suspect that there is a reason behind it. There's a reason. And therefore, Next.js Next.js, and like, therefore, I'm not gonna go. I probably won't go with React. So this is something that I was thinking about, but I'm gonna discuss it tomorrow with Sasha. I think that using Next.js will actually help us, even if Sasha needs to take like a week break of development in order to learn the Next.js. In the meanwhile, I will be trying to do something, right? So I am like 90% convinced that I need to do the Next.js instead of React. Now, our goal is actually make the first version quick, right? So we're not gonna implement everything that I've done in Figma design, because I've done a lot of different stuff, and we're only gonna implement the most basics, like, right? We're not gonna implement authentication or something like this. This is actually what I thought before, but now I saw this tutorial, and maybe I could link this tutorial. I'm gonna save it here so that I don't forget to link it. The surprise for me is that Next.js, or maybe React, I don't know. So the thing is, I'm zero React developer. Like, I've done 2 tutorials in my life about React, and I don't know a lot of things. Like, I don't know what is a state management, for example, because we don't really have state management in LWC. We don't have it in Salesforce. So I only know those things that we use in Salesforce, like, for example, classes or grids, or how to make a layout. But I don't know all the other stuff. Like, for example, like how to speak to the backend. No idea. How to create a database. No idea. Because we don't need those things in the Salesforce, right? And from 5 years ago, when I was learning front-end development, I am surprised how much actually happened in the front-end development. I remember, like, I think 6 years ago, React was only starting, right? Maybe I was learning front-end development even more, like 6 or 7 years ago, because I thought that's something I'm gonna do. But when I was learning it, I was actually quite frustrated, because you had to do a lot of on your own, right? Like, React wasn't really good back then. You had to, if you wanted to implement authentication, you had to implement it on your own. Now, I watched this tutorial, and I am just fascinated how cool of an app you can develop in such a small period of time. Like, this is just insane, because look at this. I'm gonna show you. So I have here very bad made localhost website landing page, very small one. So look at this. What do we have here? We have clerk. What is clerk? Authentication and user management. Like, you sign up for clerk, and you don't need to implement authentication on your own, which is crazy. Because implementing this authentication, here's, for some reason, it's black. Let me Google Tailwind button. Let's say Tailwind text color, and let's make it a little bit more visible. Text white. That seems for me good. So I'm gonna close this because we don't need it for now. And here's my app, and in Tailwind you have, I think we do it like this, and I'm gonna make it up. I'm gonna make it so we can quickly switch if we want. Here, sign out. So if you click on sign out, we are signing out, and then we are asked to sign in. And look at this. I can select here username or GitHub, right? And I can sign up here with username and password. And I can, and also with GitHub. So, and I can go here. I can go here to the clerk dashboard. This one. And somewhere, I don't know where, but I should be able to modify those things. yes, here, I can turn them off or I can turn them on. Like, this is so crazy, because, so let's say I deleted them, right? If I'm gonna go back, why does it still have localhost? Still has the username. Maybe it takes a little bit of time to update, or maybe I didn't click on the button to update. Yeah, I probably didn't click somewhere. Yeah, I didn't click on the apply changes. Here we go. Apply changes. And I hope that now if I... Yes. No, I can only snap here with GitHub. And this is insane. Like, to implement this page, it would take us so much time. It would take us so much time. And this is crazy. But that's not all. That's not all. To deploy this application, so this application, I used actually the framework they developed as a community here with this guy. And they are using, I don't fully understand this thing, but they're using here Prisma, yeah, as database. And I don't fully understand the connection between how it is, like, is it deployed somewhere or is it not? I don't think so. It looks like, I mean, it's on the local host. So they're using this one, and they're also using here Vercel. Vercel is basically a quick way to deploy something, and it is combined with a source here. So it is combined with a GitHub. So if you sign up there with a GitHub, it basically took me like 15 minutes to set it up. And I click here on the Vercel, and it puts me into like real app that I can already try out. Like, this whole front end setup got so crazy because like I literally set it up in like 15 minutes just following this tutorial. Yeah, this 23 minutes. This is what I've been doing, and I'm sure like half of that we can just cut out for a simple app. So this is crazy, guys. Like, I am so fascinated by those things. This is so different from Salesforce ecosystem. We don't need to think about those things, right? We don't need to think how to combine front end and back end, for example. We have other concerns, right? We need to think about flows. We need to think about like all the commerce experience and all of that. We have SLDS. So it's a lot of different things still for Salesforce, but this is so incredible. Like, I know that I am not the pro React developer, right? But because I'm a developer, I can learn it. I think I can learn it relatively quick. And this is just insane what it allows us to do. Just insane. So if I knew that it's so easy to do it, I would be doing something like this even before. Yeah. All right. So what I was doing this tutorial, and something that, let's see. So something that I don't know how to set up would be this. I mean, now I know that this sign in, sign out buttons. I don't really know how to use them now, but I don't think it's relevant. And they're still, so they're developing here a Twitter clone. I'm not sure if they have somewhere a deployed app. Let's see if they have somewhere an example. Yeah, so they do have an example here, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not going to implement a lot of those things, but still it's very, very cool. So I left where I put those things, and I think at this point I would actually kind of like to remove those, because they look terrible. Actually, I don't know. Like, I like that it's justified center. That's a good thing, but the coloring of this, wow, that's not my taste. Localhost. So what I need localhost 300, and I'm gonna sign up so it doesn't doesn't bother me. I don't know though why. Aha, now it's white, so now I need to make it, let's say black. Now I have sign in, sign out, so that's awesome. Yeah, what should we do now? Should we continue this?
Oh, button.
And I hope that you can hear the.
Oh, is it because user? Yep, it's because user has properties on it. So it's
yeah.
User is signed in.
Hope you can hear it.
My mistake.
I think tomorrow will be 1 week streaming, which is interesting because streaming was not my plan at all for 2024. I don't know, I somehow started and somehow it keeps me accountable, and especially it keeps me more accountable if you comment under the videos. So keep me accountable. But no, I actually like it. It's you cannot really procrastinate when you stream. you really can't. Let's see what they're doing.
There we go. Now the sign in button renders when we're not signed in. Click that. And now it's a sign out button instead. Ta-da. So much better. My bad on that. Anyways.
Something that I don't understand is why by default it redirects me into sign in. If I sign out, then by default it redirects me. Something that I would like to maybe ask ChatGPT or this Copilot why my app is redirecting me automatically to sign in. Let's see if it can answer. Where can it happen? Somewhere, probably somewhere in the main page. So this is index.tsx TypeScript, right? As far as I understand. I'm gonna change this to learn Apex. User, get user. Redirect, router, sign in. Root guards. Okay, so what is this app? API. Maybe here. Well, so I think the plan for today for me is not really doing a lot of stuff, because tomorrow morning I'm gonna be speaking to Sasha, and we're gonna make a decision if we're gonna go with React, with pure React, or we're gonna go with the Next.js. So the idea for today is to see if we can speed up the development by using Next.js. And if we can, maybe we could develop something for something like a header. Maybe we could take our Figma header and make out of it the actual header component. There's definitely something that I missed from. So this is, I think he has somewhere GitHub here, GitHub repo, so I can have a look at this GitHub repo. Yes, nice. So, SRC, pages, and this is like maybe third time I see React in my life. So I'm obviously not complete beginner with components and all of that. But I'm also definitely way not not even a middle developer. I don't know. I'm not even a junior developer probably in React, but it should be enough for me to actually ship the website. I hope at least. Okay. Okay, pages. Let's see, app.tsx, and his page looks different. Page props. What about index.tsx? Well, it's possible that on the index.tsx something happens. Hello query. You know what? I don't think it's very important now. Because yeah, well, I can figure it out later. Because for now I would rather see what else can we do with React. So now that looks good. Okay, let's see what he will be doing next, and if we actually need it. I would actually like start with creating some components, like for example a header component, the one that we've done in Figma, because I want to see if we can like I want to get a sense how it feels to implement something in Next.js. Even though I've done it like maybe a month ago, I've implemented something from a tutorial on the internet. But yeah, let's see how it does. So I also want to get a sense on his development process, because he set up here quite a lot of different things like Vercel, Clerk. So I understand Vercel and Clerk, I understand them. But then he has also Planet Scale, which is kind of a database provider, which I don't really understand. And he has Prisma, which is the database itself, but apparently it's not exactly the database. It should be some kind of middleware between the database and our application. So database. So here they say next generation OJS and TypeScript ORM. Yeah, so ORM, we don't really have those things in Salesforce ecosystem, but basically from what I understand and how I understand it, it allows us to set up the relationships, and then those relationships are created in the database. Prisma unlocks a new level of developer experience when working with databases thanks to its intuitive model and auto-completion. Yeah, that looks actually quite cool, because indeed we can actually read it. Okay, so we have here client, we have server, and we have the database. Let's actually just continue following the tutorial, and let's see, maybe we can learn something. So I'm gonna be, let's say, the next 7 days I will be probably learning quite a lot of stuff about Next.js, and in the meanwhile Sasha will be also probably learning a lot of stuff about Next.js, and then we'll be, maybe at the same time we'll be implementing some components, and we're gonna be able to already use it, or maybe make a layout. Let's see. We also, so one of the open questions is actually how can I combine this thing with a backend, and backend is written with Express.js and Express.js. So it's gonna be, Sasha is working on it, and we are using JSForce. This is a special library for JavaScript that has a lot of different methods for connecting to Salesforce. And for example, what they have authentication here method, and the most important what they have is the tooling API, which allows us to easily put the code that we're gonna write on the website into Salesforce and execute it as an anonymous block, for example. So let's continue following this tutorial.
Now that we have this all working, might as well get stuff started on the server, right? Let's do it. Git status, git add, git commit, add auth. And now we have our application authenticated up on the server, ready to get rolling. So let's get rolling. Sorry. I've been traveling all the week. Make sure we know when things go wrong in production. As much as I love the new Vercel logging system, I do want something a little more thorough. And when I'm looking for something more thorough, I go with Axiom.
Yeah, Axiom. He's using Axiom. This is another thing that I don't fully understand. Let's see, Axiom. Axiom Next.js should be somewhere there. Axiom, where are you, Axiom? Is it monitoring thing? Axiom.co. Stop sampling, observe every event. Yeah, so this is the monitoring stuff. Ah, I see. That's the way we can monitor things. Those things are really cool. Like why no one showed me these things before? I would be already, if you, I am so sure that if I had those things before, I probably wouldn't end up with Salesforce. Because one of the benefits of Salesforce that I had is how quickly you can develop something. So I was fascinated that basically in hours you can put out some kind of LWC and everything works and everything's connected to the Salesforce, and then you can make a community page. Now with this thing, I live through the same moment where I'm like, wow, you can do that quick and that easy. This is awesome. Okay, so they show, and what is the pricing of Axiom? So I think we can, yeah, 500 gigabyte per month. I don't know what it means, but sounds like a lot. So I think that's fine. That's fine.
Axiom is incredibly easy to set up. You can sign in, use GitHub or whatever else. I have multiple accounts because I use it for my company as well. So I'm going to sign out of my company account. So I'm going to sign in with my GitHub instead. Org not found because that's not the one I'm using. Here's my open source org. We already have Vercel linked. If I didn't, it would be 2 clicks, but I'll show you what those clicks look like. I'm going to go to Vercel, settings, integrations. And once you get into integrations, you can just search Axiom, click, add, pick the org. I only have one, or you should probably only have one. I have a lot. You can pick if you want it for specific projects or all of them. In this case, I'm just going to pick Chirp because that's the only project I need this for.
Apex. What is Apex here?
Connect.
Okay, so
And
I already
now
done this step.
all of the logs
I'm
for
just
this
checking that
project
I've
will
done
go
it
straight
correctly.
to Axiom, where I can search through them and find them way more easily. Really, bud?
Okay. So that's the thing that we can do in Vercel, right? Where's my Vercel? I'm gonna close this one. I'm gonna put this one as a second and the Vercel as a third. They all have the same style. Let's see, analytics. Nah, thank you. I don't need this. Deployments. So deployments is ready. Okay, let's see.
Let's actually build the application now.
Let's
that
build.
was all fun
I'm
stuff,
up for it.
but we gotta write some code, don't we? Thankfully, when things go wrong, it'll be very easy for us to identify when they went wrong and how they went wrong. Now we have everything else set up. So, first off, we actually need some data to render. And in order to have data, we need to have a database. Let's hop into the database, and we're gonna make a new model for a post. Right now we have this model for example, which is a good starting point. Change this to post. Won't really need to update it at.
Okay.
I like using CUIDs
good.
for created at. It's a nice format because it is consecutive while still being unique IDs. Pretty convenient. You can make it anything technically, but I'll just leave that as the default. You have the created at. We need the content, which is also a string.
Here.
And in Planet
And he's using string instead of. It doesn't matter.
In MySQL, the string length is weird, so I'm going to manually set that to a var_char of 255, which means that it could be 255
So he's
characters
going to be
long.
using
Since they're emojis,
my SQL. I probably will not use it because I think we're going to be using MongoDB because I'm more familiar with MongoDB, and I think Sasha is also more familiar with MongoDB. But let's just see what's the connection. And I think Prisma, right? So if I look at the Prisma, okay, so they have also planet scale. They have also planet scale. Like, I cannot understand the connection between MongoDB, not MongoDB, planet scale and Prisma. So for example, okay, so Prisma, if I go for Prisma on MongoDB, for me it looks like approximately the same thing. So it looks like they are doing the same thing as he's doing. Okay, and this is Prisma Studio. I'm also gonna put here because that's, let me call this thing dev.
A lot of them count as 2 characters. Managing that length will be annoying, but we'll get there when we get there, won't we, mouse? Yeah. Let's need a user ID, which will be a string. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Guess we'll call it author ID. It's more accurate. You need to be able to look up all posts by a given author. We should have to go through all of the posts to find them. The easiest way to do that is to create an index. So in this case, at index.
Okay, I think we can skip all this stuff with database because database part will be definitely Sasha doing, and we're gonna be using anyways a different database. We might end up using something from what he is using because it seems quite cool, but I don't know. So Vercel is definitely really cool. Anything else like Prisma, I don't know. Let's see. We're gonna need some time with Sasha to actually think through what do we want to develop. How do we want to develop it, not what we want to develop. Looking at what I have so far, it looks like I could already start with developing because I have SSC and I don't need servers for now. I need pages and I have the app page, which I think is not really used. I have index, and this index page, it already contains the head, and I think that's where we can put our components, right? So let me go here, and I mean we can, like, the best thing about those components is that the components are reusable. So whenever we now write a component, like for example, I'm gonna write a header component. If I write a header component, you can reuse it, right? So you can reuse it. Let's see. Next JS header. Next.js header component. Is it that easy? 6 minutes. Navbar. Let's see.
In this video, let's learn about the head component provided by Next.js. When you think about search engine crawlers, a document title and description at the very least are very important for SEO.
I see. I don't need the header component. I need navbar component. Next, navbar, navigation plus navbar. Okay.
Hello everyone. Previously we looked at how to set up Next.js. Today we'll look at how routing works in Next.js, and we'll use that to continue creating our Next.js application. First, what is routing and why does it matter?
I know what is routing.
And each page corresponds to a specific URL. Oh, by the way, Next.js also has an experimental feature where the pages are managed in the /app directory. When you activate it, Next.js warns that it may cause unexpected or broken application behavior. Use at your own risk. So I'll do a specific video on that at a later date. For now, however, we'll be sticking to the pages directory. Okay. Now, how does Next.js map URLs to components? Let's say you have a Next.js application with an index, an about file, and a
Okay, so pages, then index, then about, and then blog, and then index and first post. Does it correspond to what we have? So we have pages, and then in the pages we have API and we have index. I guess API will be some kind of connection, or supposed to be some kind of connection to the backend. And then we have index.tsx and about.tsx, and then we have blog. Okay, so that sounds approximately the same. So in the API, I don't know what is the export API handler. Okay, that's fine.
folder called blog with an index and a first post in it, all this in the page directory. Now, Next.js uses file-based routing. And what does this mean? When a user navigates to your application, Next.js looks at the URL and determines which page to render based on the file name in the pages directory. Let's say your website is hosted at codeapps.dev and a user navigates to https codeapps.dev. In this case, Next.js will map the root URL, the home page, to the index.tsx file. If the user navigates to codeapps.dev/about, Next will match the /about URL to the about.tsx file. Once Next has identified the component file, it then reads the default export from that file and renders that component. It's also worth mentioning here that Next.js supports nested routes. In our example, Next will match the /blog route to the blog/index file and the blog/first post URL to the blog first post tsx file.
Is it that easy? Is it that easy? Let's test it out. So let's say we have here this /API. We're not using this /API, right? But we do use this one. And let's say here as a separate div, I want to go to the test one. Let's say test. And does it mean that it's gonna go here to the test.tsx? And here's the test. Let's see if that's true. I don't see anything. Yeah, because click me. Okay. And then it goes to the test, but it doesn't find this one. Maybe it's because I had here test. Maybe it needs to be capitalized. Maybe it's exactly like this. No? No. Probably not that easy. Let's keep looking.
And that's all well and good, but if you're coding a blog, you don't want to create a page for every single article. Thankfully, Next.js also provides a way to define dynamic routes, which allows you to match URLs that have specific patterns. Typically, for a blog post, we'll use its slug, which is basically often the title, all in lowercase, and the spaces replaced by hyphens. In this case, we define a dynamic route using square brackets. In our example, instead of the first post tsx file, we would have a slug file between square brackets .tsx. In this case, the square brackets around the slug parameter indicate that it's a dynamic parameter that can take on different values. So if a user navigates to /blog/first post, Next.js will now render the slug.tsx component and pass in the string first post as a parameter. Now, this is just an overview of what routing in Next.js allows, but it's enough for what we want to do. So let's apply all this to our Next.js application. We'll set up dynamic routes later when we create the full blog content. For now, we'll navigate between blog pages and the root pages, the home page. And we'll create a nav bar, a navigation bar. We'll set up the layout first and then do the navigation. To do this, we'll continue the header component that we started in the previous video. For those of you who missed out on the previous installment, here's the link on the Daisy UI website. We need to give an HTML element, a navbar class, to be able to implement this in Visual Studio Code. And then we'll type either npm run dev, or you can see our header component, which for the moment, let's face it, is very basic. Now, we created this header component in the header.tsx file in the components folder. We can see that it was simply a div with a text that just says header. Now, instead of this div, we'll be using a header element.
Okay, I understand those
Now,
things.
within this
I'm
element,
here for routing, for navigating between components. That's the most interesting part.
we're going to be creating a first div where we'll simply write logo. Then we'll add class name equals navbar-start to this div. Now we're going to add a second element,
Okay, let's not do it now.
also a div, and we'll specify that its class name is navbar-end in this case. We're going to be placing the menu items. We'll create 3 divs. In the first one, let's write blog. In the second, let's write concept. That the different elements are there. We're going to add some horizontals to each. Before we go into navigation, let me know if you have any questions, if anything's not these different pages. Now,
Okay, so basically only the last 1 minute is actually the minute that we
in the header component, if we were in pure HTML, we just put an A element, an anchor element with an href that
Yeah, but we are
indicates,
in
instead of the
next.
A element, we'll be using a link component.
Yes, exactly.
And that has the href attribute that indicates the path to the page. So here we have link href equals and then /blog with the blog inside.
Huh.
If we test this and click on the link, we end up on our blog page. Yay! Now this creates a new problem for us because we can't yet go back to the homepage. Now what are we going to do?
Where does he have the block sitting? Should it be it's under pages, right? Test. So he didn't really have anything there, right? He just had this test. Okay, without those brackets though. I don't think it has any influence on how it behaves. So test, click me, and then it should go here to the test. Does he have here's example? Nope, he doesn't. Click me, this page could not be found. I want him to show. Okay, so he has SRC and then components, and then he has header and then pages, and then he has. And where's the blog? Blog is probably here within, right? Next, navigation. Next navigation, simple tutorial. Navigation between pages, let's see. Okay, let's start. That's done. Okay, first post. Next. It does look exactly like here /test. Okay, let's rename it. Let's say let's do the same as they have blog, and then here in the blog, new blog here now, rename .tsx. Oh wait, so let me actually do exactly like they have. First post. Let's rename it to first post. And now if I go, it should be blog first post. Right? Because that's first post. Yeah, that's the way they have it as well. Let's actually copy it completely here, so that we have one-to-one the same. So this page, and it's not blog, it should be posts. Posts with this page. Let's see. Let's ask ChatGPT what's the problem with it. Because for me it does look quite similar to what they have. Okay, maybe that's because what was the command? Yeah, this one. Maybe that's because it was not really a page. Still, right? Still doesn't really work. Okay. Let's see. The file structure. The file structure seems correct for me. Here's your file structure. No, this is not clerk integration. It's not a dynamic root. It's exporting was correct. File structure. Browser source set. No, this is, come on, ChatGPT. Those are doesn't seem like a correct. Let's delete this test. What I think the problem with this is that there's actually something in this app that is overwriting it. For example, for example, like routers, but I also have another idea that maybe I didn't install something like routing. Maybe I need to install it separately. Is it possible with Next.js? Page not found. Next.js link. Use the tag A inside of link. That doesn't sound like the problem because it does the navigation, right? Oh no, this was the wrong idea. Your projects.tsx should be set up as projects and then page.tsx. Well, I guess I'm gonna need to look at his tutorial because post view, does he have a identification state, error handling, routing? Because I think he has he might have some kind of different setup for routing here, because maybe we are not really starting here with a, maybe we need to add more, the path might be different, like maybe something like pages and then slash. If I go to his app, I'm gonna see the difference. Okay, so it goes there. Yeah, I'm gonna have a look at this. But I think that's enough for today, because I need to go now. Maybe I'm gonna continue on my own without the stream. Thank you everyone for watching and see you tomorrow.